Welcome to the Crazy Wisdom Podcast. I've got Javier Rolandi here, and he is the investor relationships. He's doing investor relationships and communications. Welcome to the show.
Thank you, Stewart. Pleasure to be here. Looking to have some fun and talk about crazy stuff.
Crazy stuff. We both got our mate, and we have our cough. So we got both. And we just went on a wild ride through various links that I sent you, and we landed on Riverside, which I haven't used Riverside in a month because I've been building my own sort of platform for recording these podcasts. And you just got a little insight into some crazy stuff that I had to move through in terms of like links. There's just so many variables on this thing. But I want to talk more about what you were thinking about sort of NASDAQ. What do you think of the SpaceX IPO?
I think it shows the faith that people have on a single crazy and genius founder.
Yep.
Because it's hard to understand how all the pieces of SpaceX are coming together, but it's a huge optimism that this single person can achieve great things, and also that he has the some insights on what the future looks like. So I'm not an expert on investments, but what I sense from the communication perspective is that people just think Elon will achieve anything.
Yeah, interesting. Yeah, it's so much trust. It's so much trust and specifically around competence. I think you got it right. It's like trust in his competence to do anything he sets his mind to. And that's really interesting.
So let's take it, for example, if you tell me that you are raising money to build a colony on Mars, I will instantly say you're a scammer or you're just fucking crazy out of your mind.
Yeah.
But when you do that and then you build rocket ships and you have them landing on the same platform and reusing them, and you improve your engineering amazingly in 10, 20 years, then I'm starting to think maybe this crazy dude will make it.
Yeah.
So so I think that's the angle. Any other person that says they're going to build a colony on Mars wouldn't raise a single dollar. But this guy.
And how has it been, like, watching this whole thing in Argentina? When did you first start getting into technology? When did you first start paying attention to it? Was it something when you were really young, or something when you were older?
Yeah, actually, I have a known linear path with my relationship with technology. Since I was very young, I love to have my tool set and try to build things, break things. So that brought me to learning electronics in high school. So I studied electronics in high school. I'm like a technician, and I'm getting some echo now. So when I was like at fourth year, it's 6 years to be a technician, like in high school in Argentina. In my fourth year, I was like deep into literature and fantasy, and got a bit bored about technology. I said, okay, I think I know all I wanted to know about how electronics work and how a TV works and how. But I always remain closed to the technology breakthrough. I was early to internet. I was early to, I don't know, Gmail. I got friends that were studying engineer, working in engineer. So the conversation was always there, and also a huge fan of science fiction. So it's like the passion for literature and technology got together into science fiction. So to answer your question, from a very young age, but not in a linear way.
And the sci-fi is so crazy. Have you read much cyberpunk?
Not so much cyberpunk,
So
most
you're
like
more go for it. Yeah. Where what do you read?
Huxley,
Ooh.
Orwell, to the basics, then some Asimov for robotics, and also not in literature but on movies and series. I'm a huge
Yeah, interesting.
consumer
Yeah.
of sci-fi. I was always fascinated on how sci-fi reflected on the present. So every time I see a sci-fi movie, I like got like like um I get to live in a different world. Like that's the beauty
Mhm.
of literature and cinema and all and telling stories. But at the same time, I always come back with a question about today. What does science fiction tell us about today? So that's what I love about it.
And you're a humanist too. We were just talking about humanism. And the sci-fi stuff comes from humanism. It comes from Mirandola. Mirandola.
Ah, yeah, Mirandol.
Mirandola, who is for the audience is a 15th century, 16th century guy who created this. I can't remember whether it was him or another guy. I might be mixing them all together. But one guy created this book about the sun or the solar, like the some sort of like utopian sun community that was very Christian and all these other things. And then we have Thomas More, who was the British guy, who's the British humanist. And Thomas More wrote Utopia, which is so fundamental for science fiction and all these different things. And you mentioned some great names, including Asimov. There's one book I've been trying to figure out what that book was, because I think it nailed AI the most prophetically. And I can't remember the actual name of the book. It's something about just sort of like a really intense intelligence that's for the good, that's for like, because AI definitely has its bad side too, like it's going to be there, but it was just like an interesting perspective on an intelligence that's for the good and super intelligence. um, do you pay much attention to what's coming out of Silicon Valley? What do you think of Silicon Valley? We talked about Elon Musk. Elon Musk has now left Silicon Valley for Texas, and that's including his entity, which I've been doing a lot of studying about, and we can talk about that in terms of Argentina because there's also interesting things here in terms of having an entity here. Um, now, yeah, what do you think of Silicon Valley? Have you been there? What's your take on that?
Haven't been there, and I don't know a lot about Silicon Valley, to be honest. Um, I'm new to the startup
Oh, interesting.
world, like being in the startup ecosystem, the local startup ecosystem for 5 years, 4 years only. And before that, I was like more on the academic world, which,
Interesting.
which the, like looks like disconnected from the startup world. It's
Yeah.
like they're two very different worlds. For university and education, things go super slowly. Innovation comes like in decades, uh, and the startup world has this frenetic pace. Like you don't have even time to digest what's going on, and it already changed. So I have to say I'm new to the startup ecosystem and all the way of innovation and trying to accomplish great things in very short time. Um, this accelerated growth. It's totally new to me.
It's crazy.
So yeah, to be
And
honest, I don't know a lot about Silicon
yeah,
Valley.
yeah. So and that's really interesting for me too. And I want to talk more about the academics. So the academics, how does it work in Argentina? What and because you were doing trade school too, right? So in trade school is like like you're actually building electronics. Did I get that right?
I studied that in high school,
Oh,
but
that's right. Okay.
not on the university. On the university, I went to study literature and
Oh, cool.
linguistics.
And
so that when I said it, it was not a linear relationship with
yeah,
technology.
exactly.
I really meant it.
Yeah, you jumped around. So literature and Borges. Can we talk about Borges? I can't. I don't know if I can talk about Borges because I haven't read him yet.
Okay.
Um, but that was the name of Aleph, right? Aleph comes from Borges.
Yeah.
Borges.
Yeah.
What
I'll
is that? A
come.
short story?
It's a short story, and Borges got like really good at writing short stories. Um, and mostly, so it's not like a novel uh, type of writer, and he didn't excel on poetry as well.
Huh.
So he was very specialized on short stories, and the thing that he does the best is to create like a complex puzzle on his short stories. They're not easy to read. They're not easy to understand. And they have like so many different levels in the way that you can continue to think about what he wrote. So
Uh,
so the thing with Borges was like a super brainy
uh,
person, like super intelligent,
uh.
that loved to read a lot and to know a lot about ancient wisdom and
Ooh.
ancient literature and religion. And he always tried to or tried or found a way to mix super complex concepts
Huh.
inside of the stories he wrote, not only on the content level but also on the way that he wrote, the structure, the phrasing, the so it's kind of like trying to solve a puzzle to read Borges, and you have to reread every story a lot of times, and if you have a strong universal general knowledge, you start to figure out that he has like certain clues. Like I what the way I picture him writing is like on enjoying leaving the little like bread crumbs in there, pointing to Asian philosophy,
Wow.
ancient stories, religion, and saying, the person I'm writing this story for will know, but the rest won't. Like
Whoa.
it's like it's
Cool.
like there's a code inside each story. So it's very interesting. It's not my favorite author. I love it more
Who
like
is
a
your
straight.
favorite?
From the classic Argentinians, I have to say Cortázar. Uh,
Cortázar. How do you spell? Z-A-R.
Zortar. Yeah,
Yeah. Okay.
yeah, correct. So, but why? I love the stories he tells. I love the phrasing he uses. I love the flow of the writing. So it's more like an experience that I
All
love
right.
about Cortázar. Is like walking through the streets and watching at people having uh, living their lives. You can't do that with Borges. With Borges, is it's a maze.
Hmm.
You enter a maze, and you enter a maze into Borges' brain.
Whoa.
So it's like, okay, where the fuck am I? What's going on here? And it's all like condensed in like 2 pages. So what the fuck?
He sounds a lot like Philip K. Dick, PKD. Have you heard
Okay,
of Have you heard of him?
I think I've read some,
Yeah.
but I'm not familiar with
And it's sci-fi, and
yeah.
so, but I think Borges may be higher on the line of integrity, like spiritual integrity, than PKD. PKD, really beautiful schizophrenic sci-fi, uh, but intense. And it sounds like Borges has a similar level of intensity. And I'm going to read it. Maybe I would love to get your perspective on my treasure hunt that I'm building.
Okay.
I have to find things to show you. Okay, so uh, Give me 1 second. I think it's important enough.
Sure.
Okay. We don't have
Oh,
my nice camera plugged in, but I'm running into the same problem I run into every time here. Okay, so now we're gonna take that out.
so what do you mean by treasure hunt? Is like a game or like a um an experience?
Can you see my screen?
Oh, oh yeah, yeah, yeah. I know. I
Okay,
know.
now
I saw your post.
yeah. Okay, so now we're gonna play a little game here. If everything works, uh, so okay, Wi-Fi. It's on still. Okay, let me know if you see something cool. Give me. Do you see something different happen now?
Yeah, I see like dots or circles. Oh, I see your. Yeah, I get it. It's a game.
Yeah. So
You're firing at a little
yeah, exactly.
circle.
So okay, so now that's way easier, and this is what I'm learning is that if I just show people stuff, it's way easier than everything else I've been trying to do. So that's the first part of the treasure hunt. Maybe I shouldn't talk about it publicly because it's a treasure hunt. Basically, I want to go around talking to people and asking them if they want to play a game with their phone, and then on this device that I'm going to carry around, I'm going to get in the next day, I'm going to get these two together, and so it'll be like this basically inside. Oh no, see, I
Okay.
just broke it. I broke it there. So it'll be like that inside of a 3D printed container. And there's a 3D printer container store in Argentina, which I found out that doesn't exist anywhere in the United States except in LA and New York City. And only for creative, like music, movies, anything you need a set for. So they actually they have 3D printers that can create sets and all this different stuff. So I want to do a treasure hunt, and it would be fun. The last one I did was I got the Argent. There was a bunch of foreigners here who wanted to learn Spanish. Uh,
Okay.
so I sent them on a treasure hunt in Jardín Botánico, uh,
Okay.
and they found the treasure, which was unlocked with a secret code, which was pelotudo.
Okay.
Uh, they had
It's a good word.
yeah, and they had to find that word from Argentine strangers, and then it unlocked the treasure. So though it's not defined yet, I'm still working it out. Yeah, what do you think? Do you like this idea? It's a horrible question to ask. What are your thoughts?
I have two th- two thoughts. The first thought is funny. Is I'm so curious to know if they have to get people to to say the word pelotudo in a way of sharing language, like local language knowledge,
Yeah.
or in a way that they have to be shouted out at,
What do you mean?
like pelotudo is something you would say to
Oh,
someone that is acting in a weird way, or in an offensive way.
oh.
So I hope it was not the second, but
No, 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 definitely not. No, no, no.
that would be fun as well.
It,
So you say something odd or
no.
offensive, and people will shout pelotudo at you, and they said, okay, let's try that word. But
So
they could also use boludo or other words that don't unlock the door. So the box.
that's a whole other interesting idea. So
Just
I actually got it wrong. It was not pelotudo. It was al pedo. Estás al pedo.
al pedo, al
Uh,
pedo.
uh,
Okay.
and because pedo is such a complex word with so many meanings
Yeah.
in Argentina and also in Mexico somehow. I don't think I've ever heard it in Colombia, but it's been a long time since I was in Colombia, and so Somehow it's both in Mexico and Argentina, and I can't figure it out. But it's like varied. But I like this idea on. Oh, that gives me a really good idea. So I got these guys, which I'm gonna try to plug in next time. Which are basically just they're microphones and speakers. So little tiny microphones and speakers. So I'm going to start to build devices. Yeah. What did you? Are you still interested in electronics?
Um, Not so much.
Yeah.
Not so much. Not in building stuff. I'm still fascinated by technology. Um, but not interested in getting directly involved in building
Ooh.
technology. So, for example, you mentioned you're doing treasure hunts and you're doing this for adults.
Yeah.
So
Interesting.
that right? So it's not obvious to create a treasure hunt for adults. It's more like something you would do to kids or for
That's true.
kids for
That's true.
enjoyment. So
That's true. Yeah.
one thing I'm interested is that we some of us are going back to playing
Oh,
games
oh,
and
interesting.
to having fun as we did that as kids. It's like something got broken in the way that an adult life was imagined when we were younger. We probably are like not exactly
Similar age, but
the similar age, but probably our infancies, like our childhoods, were a bit similar in a way that people will think that when you grow up, you're so serious and you have all these responsibilities and you stop playing. Maybe you play golf. Maybe you play like
and interesting.
but you don't go treasure hunting, right? So I think it's a good thing. It's like the previous model that we it, it was boring, and and also it likes gets you a part of your creative younger self. So um, I think that it's a nice rebellion to have to not agree with that model and still play games, creative games.
Yeah, interesting. D- Are you familiar with the Peter Pan
Uh,
myth?
yeah.
Yeah. I just recently watched it. Not Peter Pan. I watched Hook, which was a great '90s movie.
Yeah, I know that one.
Yeah,
Yeah.
and it was so interesting to revisit it since my childhood because San Francisco and Silicon Valley has a Peter Pan syndrome.
Yeah.
And but does Buenos Aires have a Peter Pan? I think part of Buenos Aires definitely does. Uh, yeah, what do you think?
uh, Not sure about Buenos Aires as a city. It's a super uh, like Buenos Aires has so many like little cities inside. So
Hmm.
I live in a neighborhood that has a lot of families, and maybe if you go to I don't
Palermo, I
know,
should say Palermo. Palermo has a
Palermo. I
yeah,
have to say Palermo. You will-
yeah.
no, I don't think we are currently experiencing the Peter Pan syndrome. I think we are in a different one
Yeah, what's going
where
on?
people don't want to leave uh, their teenage years.
Mm.
So it's like they want to stay like teens and not as childs. So I personally prefer the adult that can live an adult life and still play like a kid, rather than the adult that still want to be a teen.
That's
But that's totally on me. It's what do I like? What do I love about still being to play like a kid? You lose your like all the social strains, the embarrassment. You you're not afraid of making mistakes or um, and you can think out of the box very easily. I don't think that's a teenage behavior. I consider teenage behavior to go to the limits and to disobey and to challenge the status quo, not as a play but as a
Oh, interesting.
need. So so I think that what I see the most here is that a lot of people are coming to adult life and not wanting to live teenage. Uh,
That's
so
interesting. So it's in a rebellious phase. Argentina's in a rebellious phase. Is that right?
oh, that would be more interesting than what I'm saying.
Huh.
I'm saying that they're still trying to push some limits, but not in the smart
Yeah.
way. It's not a rebellion because
Interesting.
teenagers go through this phase and not necessarily become revolutionaries. So it's a phase, right?
It's
So
more
to
revolutionary to be an adult trying to own the child in them, because I think it's about that, right? It's not about becoming a child again. It's about owning the child within you.
yeah,
Yeah.
it's still being to think out the box, be
Mm.
creative, have fun with little things, and and not feel like you're wasting your time or you're embarrassed about it or you're afraid of making mistakes or too um, conscious about what other people think. So I have a little kid. So my kid goes on the streets and he goes dancing and jumping and singing
Yeah,
out
exactly.
loud.
Yeah,
So
exactly.
I have an older daughter that looks at him and say, how is he not embarrassed?
Yeah, interesting.
How is he not aware of
Yeah, yeah,
people looking at him?
yeah, yeah.
And that's all on her because it's her that it's starting to be aware of the others,
Self-conscious. Interesting.
self-conscious. So the truth is that most people look at my kid and say, that's a happy kid, and smile and
Yeah, yeah.
love the fact that he can sing and dance and jump around without caring. So I think that's the fun part. The other part, the teenage
Yeah,
side, I think it's good for some stuff, but it's not the one I love the most.
yeah, interesting. The teenager side, it's interesting territory, because it was definitely not an easy time for me when I was younger. Uh, so okay, so there's the
There's like another Peter Pan syndrome, but we need to find maybe there already is. It's not that famous as famous as Peter Pan, but some teenage that
yeah,
didn't
like
want to grow up.
oh, interesting. So a teenager who didn't want to grow up.
So
Interesting.
let's bring it
Yeah,
to simple facts. People are not committing to long-term relationships. They're not interested in having kids.
yeah,
They don't stay at the same job for a long time.
yeah.
Um, so that's what one would expect from people in their early 20s. Uh, and it's now on the
Into the
30s,
30s and the 40s. Yeah,
30s, 40s, and I mean, I'm not judging. I'm
yeah.
just find it like a sign of the times we're living here in Buenos Aires.
Because that problem, that specific problem, I think Buenos Aires and Argentina are really different than the United States, but that specific problem is also happening in the United States, and it is really hard to put into perspective.
Yeah,
Yeah. What do you?
you said problem. I'm
Oh,
not sure.
interesting.
I'm not sure it's a problem. You were asking about Peter Pan syndrome in Buenos Aires, and what I noticed is this other thing, not Peter Pan, but I'm not sure it's a problem or not. I mean, I can't say how people should live their lives, but I'm still surprised uh, from what I see and from what the way I see the world and in my own head. So,
Hmm.
what do you why do you think it's a problem?
The demographic crisis.
Uh,
So I definitely don't think it's as big of as a problem as I thought it was 2 or 3 years ago.
Okay.
Uh, it does feel like a problem still because of just. I mean, maybe it's not a problem. Maybe it's just the way it is. The most interesting thing about the demographic crisis for me is that religious groups are having the most kids,
Yeah.
but secular groups are not having any kids. And it's going to be really interesting to see how that flows. The other crazy thing is that Christianity in China is growing really quickly. It might be from a really small base, but it's growing really quickly. And um, so I don't, now in this conversation, I'm realizing that like, I don't know what the major setbacks to human species are. I think unless we go to a non-replacement era thing, well, actually that brings to mind a whole other question of like what humans are going to do with the rising technology. One of the reasons I like living in Buenos Aires and it's changed a bit is because sort of this arrival in Buenos Aires of a particular individual, Peter Thiel, who uh, is coming from San Francisco and uh, brings with him an ideology that I did not want to continue being around. Not because it's bad, but because it is short sighted and without all of the relevant details. And that relates to the Peter Pan syndrome, most specifically with Brian Johnson, who definitely has the Peter Pan thing going on. Uh, but yeah, so I just threw a lot at you. Any questions there or any thoughts?
No, it's super interesting. I have my take. When I go on the streets and see people like with their dogs and not
Mm,
with their kids, the I don't have like this uh, fear of humanity like not being able
interesting.
to
Interesting.
to
I like it.
breed.
Yeah.
But I what I
Mm,
have is these questions about what what happened that people are no longer interested in having their own kids and having a family and having that need uh to like like build their own family. So something definitely changed in the way like they think of themselves as growing adults and what the rest of their lives is going to look like. So um I think that being afraid of human level problems, it's like way beyond what I can think of. And also it the more you go into the future, the more unpredictable it is. So you're probably imagining potential worlds that will never happen because
mm,
in somewhere in the middle something little changed and shifted the course of humanity towards a different
yeah.
story
Yeah.
that
Yeah.
you thought of. So that's why sci-fi always is about the present, because
Interesting.
it's about the decisions we are making today that are shaping the future of humanity. It's not about the potential future itself. So um, I think for me the people are choosing decisions that don't have a long lasting impact on their lives. So I have a dog. The dog lives 10 years, 12 years. I have a kid. So I have a kid for my whole life. And
Yeah.
also, if I lose this kid, in case that happens, which is super sad, one of the worst things that can happen to someone, I have this hole in my soul for the whole
Mm,
life. So the minute I decide to bond with someone
mm,
in the way that one can bond with a child, or the same goes with getting married and truly owning that decision and trying to make it for life. I'm not saying that people should be together if they're happy, but making a decision of trying to make it for life, I don't see people making that type of decisions anymore. So
Hmm.
I had a question from someone saying, okay, you're married like for a lot of years, so you're missing the opportunity to be with other women. And I say, okay, yes, of course, it's my decision. But you're also missing the opportunity to be with the same woman that you love for the whole life, and
Hmm.
you only get one chance to live that. But it implies that you put your life to it.
Hmm.
So what I see is people are not making that type of decisions anymore. Like, I
And
don't know if
why do you think that is?
uh, I don't think they believe in the story.
Yeah,
Uh,
interesting. Yeah, 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 yeah.
I
That's
see. I
yeah,
think it's a marketing problem. People would say, hey, this is how life is supposed to be, and that people selling looked unhappy. So why I should live your life if you're unhappy? If you don't look happy. So I'm a happy father. I can advertise having kids.
yeah, interesting. Yeah, 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 yeah.
But
Yeah, it's a marketing problem for like anything besides before the 1960s.
I think it is. So, but I'm not sure. It's only my take. It's what I think in my own head.
And that's the kind of branching out from there into the internet and the effect that the internet's having on different cultures and different people in different groups in different nations is really interesting, and it's been quite a joy to get to see my own country go through what it's going through while being in a different country with a whole other different set of circumstances. Um,
So
and yeah, go for it.
so you brought up the internet thing, and the internet has changed the way we experience the world. Globalization was not like an necessarily internet thing, because with global transports, you can have a sort of globalization on the economic level. Um, Also, slow, much slower but on demographic level. But the internet allows us to go through frontiers
Mm,
worldwide and connect
mm.
with each other and connect wisdom and knowledge with each other in a way that it was not possible before. We stopped thinking about of um, borders and countries, and allow us to get together with people um, from all over the world that got similar thoughts or concerns or interests. So what I'm wondering always with technology is that technology reshapes the way we experience uh, the universe, starting with our own world, our own country, our own. It reshapes. So now we're starting to to consider going out of Earth, and but it's always you you don't have limits on who you can connect with, but there's that doesn't solve the question of who do you who do you want to connect
Yeah,
with, why
yeah.
do you want to connect with that person, and how is that important for you,
Mm,
how does adds to your life. So the basic questions of humanity remain unchanged. Technology allows us to broaden the reach of our human questions.
mm.
What I see as a problem is that humanity tends to be super focused on technology itself and
Yeah,
not on the possibilities that technology uh, al-
affords. Yeah,
yeah,
interesting. So let's go into that. That's the whole solar punk thing that I like to talk about, because so cyberpunk is one genre of science fiction that started in the 80s and the 90s in California, but it's very the opposite of what you just said, of like it's hyper focused only on technology, and the humanity sort of gets crushed or inverted or sort of like what Deleuze or Nick Land talk about. That's very cyberpunk. Solarpunk is, I've only found one book about it. Very strange book. I can find it if anybody wants me to find it. I think I can find it. And so it's not a genre of literature in the same way that cyberpunk is, but it is a sort of Burning Man aesthetic, and has some really interesting art associated with it. Argentina, I would say, is puro solarpunk, much less cyberpunk. There's a lot of cyberpunk in the Bay Area. In California in general, I'm hopeful that we will return to a solar punk. And it's also really important, I think, just to say that I'm not like the pure utopianism. I don't think we're going to get there anytime soon. But it's interesting to think about. And so, man, I forgot where I was going with that. So solar punk is going to be really interesting for Argentina. I guess we can save the next 10 minutes for Argentina, because what is like the solar punk vision of is all about how you can provide for the functional needs of people with technology as an affordance, as what you were talking about, as this thing that technology can do for people without getting too focused on the technology. And the energy feels the most important. And if you have nuclear power and you have solar power, and Argentina has both of those things, and a bunch of gas and oil, which is, I guess, more cyberpunk. What do you think? Is that right? What, anything I got wrong there? Anything you want to talk about?
I think you're in love with Argentina. I don't, and I don't blame you at
Yeah,
all.
yeah,
I think that it's something I'm fascinated by. The way like yourself
yeah.
and
And a few other,
another
yeah.
other people that come to Argentina become in love with our country.
Huh.
Um, I think we are material for utopias like solarpunk utopias. I think we are material. We have the land and we have the resources, and we also have what I think is more important and people ultimately love about us is that we're still human focused. We are still super focused on our relationships. So
Yep.
we are family oriented, we are friends oriented over other goals. So eventually, I think that the utopian silver lining of Argentina is networks of humans that love each other.
Huh.
So, and that was what fascinates people. It's okay. Why do you love me? You barely know me. Why shouldn't I love you, man? I love you, man, and I don't. I know. I'm not just saying that.
Yeah.
Maybe you fuck up, and maybe I don't love you anymore. But the minute you look like a nice person to me, and I trust you, and look in your eyes and say, "Hey, this is a good guy. Hey, let's bond. Let's be
Mm,
friends.
mm,
Let's expand our network of friends.
mm.
Come join my table and eat with me, and let's see how this goes." Um,
How did it
so
happen? How did that? Because I know you studied the history pretty strongly in Argentina. Like, how did that arise? I have some
uh,
thoughts of my own.
as an academic person, I should like probably quote some author, but
Yeah.
I'd rather talk about what I think. Um, so what I think that a lot of our culture is like nurtured by immigrants
Yeah.
who had it a very bad time
Mm,
and needed to stay super close in a tight community to survive. So to survive in material ways and to survive in cultural ways. So that's from a person born and raised in Buenos Aires, because it
Huh.
probably does not represent the whole
Yeah,
country.
interesting.
But if you go to the people that live in Argentina or in South America before the colonialism, it also was tribal. So it's the same concept. So it's like a modern way of being a tribe. Um, you arrive to a country, you don't know the language, but you know other people that know your language, and that
Huh.
is here from like two months, 1 year before you. So you talk to them, and they help you because they were there before. So each one is like connecting with the other,
Hmm.
and paying forward the favor of helping others to progress, to establish, to have a roof on their head, to have a meal on their table. So if you look at how Buenos Aires is,
Hmm.
the cultural life in Buenos Aires, you will see that you have the Spanish club, the Spanish hospital, the Italian club, the Italian hospital, the Calabrian, the Sicilian,
Hmm.
um, and the Armenian in Palermo, for example, and all these communities getting together in a foreign country and building stronger bonds, stronger institutions, and stronger communities. So I think that eventually that still lasts. The need of a community to survive and to thrive. So there are
Hmm.
also families super strong in Italy and Spain, which
Yeah.
are stronger, like inheritance from Europe. But I don't think it's isolated. I think it's also part of a history where people needed each other to survive. So there's no room for competition when you're surviving in the or unless the smarter way is to bond with others. If you need to survive, maybe
Hmm.
you can survive alone, but I don't think it's the smartest choice. But if you want to build an empire, if you want to build a startup, successful startup that raised $1 billion, maybe you can go on your own and your two close friends. But if you're hunger in a foreign country, you will need someone to help you.
That's super interesting. One of the big things I just got from what you said is, well, there's a bunch of things. So I think the language is so key. The language, the fact that the Italians and the Spanish both came at similar times, and Italian is not really far away from Spanish. So, and that was so much of the immigration came from Spain and Italy. I mean, there's tons of groups that came to Argentina in the
Yeah,
1800s. There's like a lot of groups came here, and but that also mixes into it. That's like explains all the microcultures, and specifically inside of Buenos Aires, right? Like Cordoba isn't that way. Cordoba, is it like?
Cordoba had less immigration at the start, but I don't think there's much of a difference right now. Uh, the immigration is super interesting phenomena, but you have that as well in the United States.
Mm-hmm, uh-huh.
Um, but language is super important, not only for people to communicate, but how you see the world. So eventually, each each language like has like I don't know how to say the word, but it has an intrinsic worldview. The way
Yeah.
the way you name things is the way you see the world. So each language is a whole way to see the world, and you get that right that Spanish and Italian languages are similar, and also the
Mhm.
world the way they see the world is pretty similar. Um, super influenced by Latin, the the Latin culture that they share. Um, but yeah, it's it has a lot to do, definitely, for people
Hmm.
to integrate.
That's really interesting. Oh man.
What are your thoughts? We covered too many topics. Back to the
Well,
technology,
yeah, go for it.
utopias and dystopians
Hmm.
worlds. Um, I think that religion and has a like a strong future when people start to experience and see dystopian uh, realities arriving. So the thing is that although I'm a spiritual person, uh, I'm not super fan of any religion
Yeah, yeah.
because I think they're products of humans that try to put
Power.
order into chaos,
Yeah, yeah, yeah,
which I
yeah,
think is great.
yeah,
Uh,
yeah. Somebody's trying it.
but
Yeah,
they're probably trying to bring some order that was made
yeah.
sense 2000, 5000 years ago, but probably doesn't make much sense right now. So I'm not dogmatic on religions. I think they're super valuable. Um, so to think about a utopia, I think we need to rethink religions in a more like in a way that makes sense for us. But why?
Hmm.
But people are going back to religion to find a structure, meaning, values, and also community. Well,
Yeah, that community part is the most interesting one because religion,
super.
yeah, religion gives great community. Uh,
Yeah.
yeah,
But when you see it from outside, you say, "Well, these people is fucking crazy."
yeah,
They
yeah,
they,
yeah,
they think that God exists and they're talking to God and God
yeah,
lives
yeah,
in a
yeah, yeah,
God
yeah,
lives in a building.
yeah.
It's a church and they are eating their God, which is a piece of bread. I say, okay, these people is fucking nuts. But eventually, it's a group of people that are looking for meaning in life and looking for connections in life and are
Uh,
looking for something beyond the material experience of life. And they found another group that is looking for the same, and they feel good together, and they have shared
but
values.
why can't the groups talk in between them? Because it does feel like like the universal lessons of religion are really important in all the different
Yeah,
civilizations that all figured it out. Like figured out a lot of good stuff. They got
yeah,
some things wrong, and different cultures, different civilizations got some things wrong in ways that others didn't. And there's no reason to name names because all of them do it.
yeah. Agreed.
The yeah. But why can't they talk together? A lot of individuals and groups within these larger groups do that. I think ecumenical is the
Uh,
word for it. But yeah, what do you think?
yeah, totally. Ecumenic is the word. I think on the basic level, it's a stupidity. So to need the need of building the identity against the identity of the other,
Yeah, interesting. Yeah.
building my um my self value, my own value compared and against the value of the other. So I have the I have the true faith, the only true faith, and
Mhm.
the other is it's a bad faith, it's a wrong faith, it's the demon, or whatever they think they are. That's stupidity. I think ultimately it's a power game, and
Yeah.
religious, as many other institutions and structures, are uh, are
Yeah.
the base for huge power, and the people that has that is on the top may use that structure on their own benefit. Um, so eventually, they can drive people against the other one. So
Mm.
if you're in one religion, and the people on top are saying, we need to kill the others, we need to defeat the others, and you have a different mind, that think about Jesus. Jesus was saying, hey, let's do something different, let's love each other. And okay, we have Christianity now, but the message of Christ, that is lost in the way. So what we have is church, what we have is power.
Yeah, interesting.
uh we don't have love, horizontal love,
Yeah, interesting.
trans border, transcultural, trans ethnic. It's guys, this is about loving each other and
Yeah.
sharing. That's the whole message. And that doesn't sell well. You cannot market that. The only way to the only way is to experience that. So it's not marketing, it's not, it doesn't have any power. You cannot build power on top of it.
Yeah, interesting.
So it's a fuck up game, the thing with religions. But what I see is that people are going back to that.
Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah. And we're going
because
to repeat a lot of the same mistakes, it feels like.
probably
Yeah,
because we are humans.
yeah, yeah, exactly. Yeah, you can't avoid the mistakes. I don't know. Maybe you can. Yeah, maybe you can avoid some mistakes.
Yeah, it's like a spiral of a learning spiral. You go through the same mistakes, maybe in a different way, not exactly the same. But you go from democratic to authoritarian and go back and forth for centuries. So eventually you make the same mistakes, but you evolve in a positive way. So that's the optimism, the way of seeing that, with optimism in humanity. I prefer that. It's a
um,
it's it's a it's a most more beautiful way to wake up every day and do things to be optimistic about humans.
only way today. Well, thank you so much for coming on the show. If you feel comfortable, do you want to share your Twitter? And I can also share it in the show notes, but we don't need to share it either.
Yeah, no, my Twitter doesn't have any content, but thank you for the offer.
Sure. Thank you so much, Javier.
It was an amazing pleasure.